Okay. So, right, today, this is another live stream. If you caught last week's live stream,
the week before live stream.
Oh, whatever it was, we have not improved much representation since then, but I hope it wasn't too traumatic for you. Yes, so in short, we are Polly and Sam, and we're live streaming here on Freedom Strider. If you're new here, we are all about discovering alternative lifestyles with the main purpose to actually find a way to full-time travel in the comforts of home, which is why we are designing
our second Home on Wheels.
Yes.
But this is the first one that we're actually going to record properly.
Yeah, because the first project, one was just we were rookies, so we couldn't.
It's a slideshow of photos.
Yeah, but this time we are actually currently in a full swing of actually designing our own van conversion of a big van long wheelbase thingy, the one we can actually stand up in. And literally we are right now designing and deciding what we are doing. Last week we discussed with you whether the bed should go lengthways or widthways. So if you want to know about that, then you're more than welcome to hop over to that other live stream recording after this one.
Yeah.
If you want to know, but the short answer is it depends. She is very helpful. I'm the best.
Anyway, this week what we're going to be doing is we're going to be discussing.
Oh, hi, person.
Hello, person. Near enough. Good.
What's near enough? Can you hear us?
Hear us and see us near enough.
Okay, well that's encouraging. Okay, so.
But anyway, this week what we're going to be doing is we're going to be discussing about Windows. We're going to have multiple questions, including
Windows.
Yes,
but the big question is obviously when you're converting a vehicle. The chances are that, especially a panel van, that vehicle is usually not going to come with Windows unless you happen to purchase one with Windows. But there's advantages and disadvantages to both, having Windows and not having Windows. So the big question of today is actually, do Windows make your van look more like a campervan, which is a very crucial point if you want to go stealth.
Yeah.
And also with that comes the question is where you put the windows and how many windows. Okay.
And also what kind of windows you put in and all of that as well.
Yeah. So where can you have windows? Okay. So should we take them to the board?
Let's take them to the board. You've stolen the mouse.
I'm sorry.
Right. So we want zoom in on the board. There we go.
Okay. So unlike last time, I have done a few drawings prior to starting, so you can actually understand a little bit of the drawings. Okay. Yep. So, to summarize what we're doing, we're going to be buying a long wheelbase panel van, the likes of a Mercedes Sprinter, VW Crafter, or a Ford of some sort. But if you don't know, Ford actually has a lot of different varieties of van, and they're so different because you can order them custom. So I don't think they actually have a easy version to
a standard model.
So there's but it's usually a Transit or a whatever.
Yeah.
Let us know if you know what kind of
Transit, and then they just bung a bunch of letters and numbers after it that mean something.
Yeah, pretty much. So a long wheelbase. And most likely one of these, if you would like to go check them out. Now, when you have the panel van, usually they come with no windows whatsoever. So this is not a window at all.
It's just a nice metal frame, and usually they have an indentation in certain places.
Well, in places where usually the windows can go. So if it's like a transporter for people, then that whole length will be covered in windows.
So, the general places in vans where windows go, or where you can place windows. So first of all, as you can see here, both sides of the van, the one with the door and the one without the door, there is usually an indentation along here, along the kind of midsection of the van on both sides. And basically you can have a window at the back, in the middle, and at the front.
So you can have one here. You have one here. I'm gonna go with the other color, so you can tell that they're different windows.
There we go.
You can have
One there.
One there. And you can have one on the door.
And the door is a separate entity. It's like by itself because the door opens.
Which we'll discuss why that's important a bit later on, actually. Also, you can have them at the back. Can I have a black one, please?
Yes, you need...
Yeah.
There we are.
Okay, so we just draw the back of the van to the best of our rushed ability. Okay, so the van is gonna, these are the doors.
On the van.
Like so. And the windows will be located here.
Yeah, they're kind of like, they follow the contour of the van itself, but they're just like right at the top. There.
Like that. So you can technically add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 windows to your van without any skylights. But you can chuck skylights at the top of your van.
Yeah. It's a good thing you can draw. Exactly. Polly's drawing right now, because if I were to draw, I think I would... Exactly. You're even... I was about to say you're even catching the pen.
I called it twice, okay? Yes, so...
Basically, you can have windows on the side, windows at the back, windows on the roof, and that, well, you already have windows in the front, luckily.
Which you kind of need. So, the big question is, can you take them to us, please?
Take them to...
Or at least...
Is it that one?
Yeah, well, yeah, that one's fine.
That one's good.
Actually, that's a triangle. We don't need that top one. There you go. That's better, yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so... Alright, you can see us. Wonderful. We're smooth. We're live streaming. You can't tell. Yeah, but you might ask, well, I don't actually want any windows in my van. So why do I even need to worry about this? Well, you need to worry about it, or you don't have to worry about it, but you should consider it. If you do want to register your vehicle after the conversion as a camper van, you have to comply with certain regulations, especially in the UK and the greater European area, because most of the European Union countries have very similar rules in terms of what a camper should be. With, for example, in terms of the windows, you must have at least one window on the side of the van, which means
not these ones, not the sky roof, skylights. One of these types.
Yeah.
Has to be one of those.
Yeah, so it has to be one of those here. Now, most people put the window here on the door because it's just smooth.
Well, I think it's also a bit easier because it's a separate entity by itself. So like it's just an isolated bit that you can just pop a window on. So I think that's why most people put it there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, but as a general rule, you must have... It's fine. I think they can see us in the little screen.
Yeah.
But as a general rule, you must have one window on the side of your vehicle if you want to register it as a camper. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So...
Next question. Or like these are the things that we go around when we're researching, because like we do this sort of in private and we thought we may as well just share it with you so that we can get a discussion going and a flow.
Yeah, and we're not 100% sure exactly where we're going to put our van windows personally for van conversion yet.
Not 100%.
We do sort of know. We do know what we want. It's just there's a few difficulties with that.
Yeah.
So, but blah, 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 blah. Brain freeze. Okay. Oh, windows on the roof are good. I agree, windows on the roof are good. I love skylights.
Really depends on how you feel about light. I personally think the more the better. Yes, well...
Yes. Well, that's a very good point. The more light, the better. Because then you waste less electricity, for example. Yeah. So actually, what were the things that we were discussing the other day? So technically, you said yourself that if you were to build a house without windows...
Exactly. No one built a house without windows. And we've been in a hotel room where they had no windows. And let me tell you, it was quite a traumatic and depressing experience.
The moment that we walked into the room, I got a headache immediately.
There's a very big difference between artificial light and natural light. Even though both of them are light, there is a very big difference, and also there's a mental difference as well. If you get natural light in, it feels a lot better.
Yeah.
So yeah, you don't build a normal house without windows. And a house is, well, can be rather big. So if you take a very small space, especially, why wouldn't you put windows on a very small space?
Putting windows in a small space is actually helps make that space feel bigger, because you feel like you can see the outside, so it lets the outside in a lot more than it does in a house. Unless you have these really big cool windows that are from ceiling to bottom and stuff like that. Yeah. So obviously, light helps with mental health. It helps with seeing, and
makes you waste less electricity by artificial light.
Yeah. However, you have to be very careful with how many holes you punch into your vehicle, because the more holes you have, the more areas you're exposed to rust. Of course, you're gonna treat them before you seal them and stuff. Yeah. But any hole you cut allows for that risk, and you have to make sure you seal them very well, because the more holes you have, the more entry points for water you have. So you have to really consider that. Also, another big point about having windows is insulation.
Yeah, basically, no windows are as good as if you were to just have a wall there with proper, normal, good insulation. Windows will never be as good as that. So you kind of have to balance that out between how many windows do you want to let enough light in, and also more windows equals, more escaping heat. So you have to heat the van a bit more or cool it down, depending on where you are.
Yeah. So we have back windows are no need. We agree. We don't think that these, the back, can you?
Yeah.
I can't see that. Yeah, we don't think that these back windows are really a lot of use.
No.
It's a general rule. We had them in a Scandinavian van, and they did about as much as the doors.
Yeah, they didn't let in much light. The only
they let in light, but they were impractical to use.
Plus, I think you could, if you have it open, aka if you want the light in, people can look all the way through your van, especially if you have like a corridor sort of design, so they can see all the way through.
Yeah. Also, the back doors to me seem a bit difficult to insulate properly, which adding windows to that would make it even more complicated.
Yeah.
So the back windows are most likely a no for us, and as a general rule, I would advise against them. But still, you might find a use for them. So
yeah, everyone has their own
yeah,
preferences when it comes to where they want it.
Yeah.
What are the other advantages to having windows apart from having natural light in? We've got our list.
Well, I know we have our list, but I don't actually remember what we said now because we talked a lot.
You said advantages that we have natural light, but a disadvantage of having windows is that you have more holes you cut, the more insulation.
I don't know. We'll get those later, as they come up, because I can't remember them like this. So yeah, the next actually big question about do windows make your camper van look like a camper? Is actually the type of windows you go for.
Yeah, because there are, well, as far as from our research, there are 3 main types or categories of windows that you can have. Yeah, so there's 3 main types of windows that you can have. The first type, which is the more modern and newer type, they're like the what are they called? The flush.
I don't know. What did you name them?
What did I name them? What are they called? Bonded windows. So basically, how bonded windows work is you cut out the hole and then you put sealant around, well, a special sort of sticky gel or silicone around the metalwork just on the outside.
And they literally look like a panel.
Yeah, like they that. Just look like...
So it's the normal actual window that you see on any normal modern van down there.
Yeah, and these are the newer types. So essentially, you cut out the hole, you put some sticky stuff, and you stick it on. And it goes flush into the van, because the places where the windows go, especially on the sides, are indented. So you literally stick it on, and it goes flush. So they're the main type, the more modern one that companies use if they were to install windows, as the van comes.
The next one is window mount,
Rubber mounted. Now these are the sort of the older type. They're more like 20 years ago sort of type of windows, and the way that these differentiate between the rubber mounted and the bonded windows is that these ones, there's kind of like you fit it in a rubber seal inside the gap rather than stick it on top of the gap. Now the reason these are older is because, first of all, even though both of them don't have to require like screws or bolts to hold it in, this one here, the rubber mounted one, you get a less field of view and you can see the rubber seal around the outside, which for the field of view and maybe for aesthetics, it depends how you kind of want it, is not so great maybe sometimes.
Also, you can see the rubber, so that's why I drew this rim. That you can actually see the rubber on the outside. So they're more difficult to actually install, but also they're less attractive, and they basically make your vehicle stick out more like a thorn. Have you considered the cost of windows? Car/van windows still have to comply with the regulations, tempered laminated glass. Yes, we're getting onto that in a minute.
We'll get onto that in a minute. We'll remember that though.
Finish the third type.
Okay, so we've got bonded windows, which you stick on. These windows, which you kind of fit into the gap. And then the third type are caravan windows. I don't actually know the specific name, but that's seemingly what comes up. Caravan windows. And these are less so a window or a pane of glass as they are more like a unit. It's like a module that you would install.
Just get on with it.
Yeah, so...
While I draw this atrocity.
Sometimes they're more flush, is the way that I'll say it. But usually they're like this. Yeah. They're bulging out. They're not always made of laminated glass. They're sometimes made of perspex or plastic. Usually they also have like a built-in thing, so you can get, the mosquito... what's it called? The mosquito net or sunshade or something else. Usually the way that they open, they have little...
They have the many handles, basically the literally clip-on plastic handles, and they have like maybe... they have like one here, one there. Actually, they usually have two here on the bottom, one on the side, another two on the top. So like they have at least 6 handles that you have to undo, and they usually open up like this.
Yeah.
Like that.
So they'll open on a 90-degree hinge.
Which is actually really bad to open them when it's windy. So you can't really open them when it's windy, which is a real big problem when actually you have a full-time camper for all year round thing.
Yeah. Gus in a bus has said, why do you care if it looks like or does not look like a camper? I live in a converted school bus. No one cares that I am living in it. Exactly. No one cares that you're living in it. If no one knows that you're living in it, it is brilliant. But the reason that we don't care so much. The problem is that we live in the UK and the UK government cares.
It's more of is the situation with we would like to have the option to basically just purely when you leave the camper somewhere, we go for a hike or something, we don't want it to be like a thorn in people's eyes that is a campervan so it doesn't tell them that there's our laptops in there or something. Like we don't want people to immediately be able to guess what is the cargo of the vehicle. So it's a bit of a security feature. Also there are occasions where when we're going to be on the road full time, and sometimes if we have to and we're on the road for a long time, we have to park somewhere because we're tired, and sometimes it could happen that we have to park on a residential street. It doesn't happen often, but it's better to park there than carry on driving and be absolutely exhausted and cause a crash. So in those cases, it's best for both us and our accidental neighbors, to just not know that anybody's there, because people start getting edgy when a camper comes over to park or things like that, which is understandable. So, and we get edgy when we know that they know that we're there. So that's sort of the consideration as to why we would prefer not to look like a camper at this point in the journey.
Yeah.
But a bus, I wouldn't really try to not make it like a camper, because it's a bus.
Buses stick out a lot.
While a panel van, you can basically just disguise yourself as a normal, business, commercial van.
like we want to basically be able to park in a car park, like an open car park, and there's vans, there's cars, there's trucks, there's whatever, and we'll kind of just blend in rather than sticking out.
Yeah.
That's our reasoning.
So it's just a security feature mainly for us. Not much anything else. It's a bit of a deterrent, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not like, come and get my laptop, I live here, sort of thing. Yeah. Where were we? We were talking about the
Caravan windows.
We were talking about that you can't actually open them when it's windy.
Yes. So, and the other major disadvantage to caravan windows is that usually, like I said, they stick out. So it's like, hey, I'm a camper van, rather than this is just a piece of glass and van. You don't know.
So generally, caravan windows definitely tell people that you are a caravan, camper van, or whatever. You're a camper, okay? Mm-hmm. So for stealth, they're a definite no-no. For weight, they're good because they're made of perspex. However, perspex does scratch.
Yeah.
Okay, much easier than these ones. Both of these can pass for a normal
car window.
Car window and a commercial vehicle, something like that.
Yeah.
So it's not obvious that immediately that you are a camper. So these are the three options. The next thing that we need to know actually is about the materials. As we were asked, we already touched on this a bit, but we'll have to comply with regulations, tempered laminated glass. Okay.
Yeah. So there are different types of materials that you can get installed as a window on a van. First and foremost, the most important thing is you cannot just get a normal window and put it on a van, because car glass is very different from house glass, because you said that tempered glass, laminated glass, they're designed for vibrations when you're traveling in a car. If you were to get like a chip, it's not going to just smash it to a million pieces. Mm-hmm. It is like proper car glass.
Yeah. So
well, they literally make, so if you want this front panel, they literally make for the make and model of your van the front panel. I think they call it front, middle and rear, and then passenger side or driver's side.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it depends on which kind of pane of glass that you want, but they do make basically panes of glass for each make and model in the specific areas. But yeah, they're proper car glass. They pass all the car glass tests.
And they have to be because otherwise they will not pass MOTs and anything else in the future.
Exactly.
Which means that your vehicle will not be road legal. Now, what does that say? So
get rid of those.
Yeah. So you can both use perspex, or you can go with normal car glass.
Yeah, and the other thing that you can do...
Laminated. It's very important that car glass is laminated. And in terms of the cost, actually, there was a question about the cost. That's what I was thinking.
Because...
we had a look for a crafter, a single window plus installation.
Yeah, this is like with a company.
180?
£180. So that's like...
On the top of my head. There wasn't over £200.
So that's like $250.
Yeah.
And that's plus install. Like literally you drive it to a company and you say, I want this panel right here. Can you install it? And you'll pay it, and they'll do it for you. They'll cut the hole, they'll prime it, seal it, whatever.
Now, you can do it yourself. We are not 100% sure whether in our conversion we're going to actually do the bonding, because we're going for a bonding window. We prefer the bonding window. But we don't know whether we're going to do that ourselves, because we have seen people do it, and we can do it. However, the company that we looked at, the price for them actually doing the job for us wasn't that much. Like, the window was 135, and then I think plus the labor was
like
180
Yeah,
or
so like
190.
they charge like 35 quid
Yeah.
to cut the window, prep it, so we don't have to buy any of that.
So now that
and then
purely
do it.
depends whether that's a lot of money or no. Depends completely on your budget. So, cat is distracting me. So that completely depends on your budget whether 30 or 40 quid extra is a lot for you. Also depends how many windows you have. That's for one window.
So if you're paying £35 extra and you want 5 windows, well, you times that's £175. Well, it might be worth it then to do it by yourself if you want to save that much money, but it depends. And it depends how confident you are in cutting a hole in your van.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. Cutting holes is easy. The sealing of them is less so. Trust me, cutting and making holes is a piece of cake. We can do that. So that was...
and the other thing that you can have, I don't know if you can have it in Perspex, but you can definitely have it in normal car glass, is tinted, or what do they call it? Blackout glass.
Blackout.
Basically, it's tinted slightly so that from the outside, you can't really see, if there's no lights on, you can't really see what's inside, rather than, with normal car glass, you look in and you can kind of see what's inside the car. But having tinted glass might be a good idea. Depends on what you plan to do.
Yeah, personally, we think that tinted glass is worth the investment. Actually, the price that I gave you was for a tinted window, so a non-tinted one might be cheaper.
I think it is slightly cheaper.
Yeah.
But obviously, it won't block out the light that you produce on the inside. So for that, you will need curtains or blackout blinds or something to stick on the windows.
So blackout windows only work when the outside is lighter than the inside.
Yeah.
So when you produce light on the inside and it gets darker, people will see that.
Oh, that's the wrong view.
What's wrong?
There we go. I was just getting it onto us.
Okay. Right. So that is skylights. We didn't really discuss skylights. Yeah.
No. Now, again, skylights are less prominent than regular windows because, you're walking around at human level height and you see the side of a van so. Usually you're seeing it. Usually the van's a bit taller than you, so you're seeing it from kind of like a more downwards angle, so you can't always see what's on the roof. But
actually, very often skylights are a big giveaway that might be a camper. However, the thing is, other companies sometimes create a workspace in the vans as well. So they're not actually living space and people need light for that, so they are known to actually put skylights on the top as well. It's just skylights usually have a tendency to wait, can you see here? Okay, so if I'll go there.
You go on the side.
Yeah, so if that's the roof, the skylight bulges out like that. Yeah. So that's a relatively obvious thing. Now we're thinking of ways how we can DIY our skylights so they're flatter, but we'll see.
But yeah, usually skylights are this type of window. They're not like a flat bonded seal. They're usually a unit, because with skylights you want to open them at different heights. And usually they come as a unit as well because they have stuff built in. That's just usually how skylights are. They don't really build a tiny bonded window. I mean, you can, but that way you just stick it on. You can, but sometimes also skylights are kind of like a 2-in-1. Like they'll have a unit built on for the fan, for the kitchen, like a ventilator, or they'll have an air conditioning unit built onto it as well, or I don't know, they have some other weird looking designs. So that's usually why they're a caravan window and not a normal car glass window.
Yeah, so these are generally the simple basic rules in terms of what happens with campervan windows. Now let's get to our own design. Now we know we started saying, well, we're gonna only have one side window and then skylights. But as the time has gone by, we really like having windows. However, we are very much aware that as you said, too many holes, bad idea. Also, technically mismatched windows or how are they called?
Unaligned?
Staggered. Like a staggered junctions. Staggered windows may look very weird on the van. So from a perspective of a stealth perspective, not
Not so much
possibly
the best idea.
wisest thing. But currently, we definitely know that we want a window on our door.
Definitely on the door. I think that if you were only to go for one window, like we mentioned this earlier, if you were to go for one window, most people, and I would recommend putting it on the door.
Yeah, actually, the most common place. So we were looking at what are the most common places that people put windows on their camper vans and what those positions might mean. Because, psychology.
So basically, not including skylights because they're a bit different.
But the side
ones. The number one place is on the door, just on the door on the window. Hold on, let me zoom in so you can see. So yeah, the number one place here is here on the door. Mm-hmm. The number two place was actually
opposite the door.
Opposite, so
it was here.
This one. Yeah.
Hi, cat. Seriously, we're live streaming. Are you gonna be a feature every time?
Every single time. Oh, she can't get out.
Oh, but we can't. No, she can't. She can't get out. Come on. That's not. She has a head. It's about a much open. That much open. That's big enough for a cat's head. She can
nuzzle through it.
Yeah.
Anyway. So yeah, first most common.
Number one, and this one's number two.
Now then, the third most common position is actually, surprisingly for me, the back windows. They don't really differentiate which side, but usually you don't do one, you do both.
Yeah.
So yeah, the third most common position is here. And then the fourth, she knows I'm here.
Who?
The cat, obviously.
Oh, hi! Yeah.
Hold on, does she want to come on camera? Do you think I can pick her up and put her on camera?
Hold on. No, you can't from there. Come here, sweetie.
You're actually going to try and get a... Say hello.
Hi. Aww.
Traumatized.
Very traumatized. Oh, you lasted nearly 20 seconds.
Okay, back on there.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Fur. You had to make me do that.
Hello, cat.
Okay.
Indeed, she likes to make an appearance.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so number 3 is the back windows.
Yeah, and then the fourth most common position is... See, I don't remember. I think it was on the driver's side at the back.
At the back?
At the back.
Are you sure?
Yes.
So...
No. The fourth most common position is kind of like a dual one.
It was here. It was that one here.
But this is not on the passenger. This is on the passenger side.
So number 3 is... number 4 is this one here.
Yeah, number 4 is that one.
So you have... number 4 is this whole panel here.
Yeah, it's not just the middle piece, it's both pieces.
It's like that. That's number 4.
Carry on. Well, we will carry on if she stops staring us down.
Hi.
She's up there, over there.
No, I have fed you, I think, 4 times today, and I gave you some of my meatballs. Oh yeah, run away.
There we go.
That's it. Shame on you. Okay. Where was I? Number 4.
Number 4. There.
It's there.
Let me switch back to main camera view. There we go.
Okay.
So yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
So yeah, the number 4th position is here, and then number 5 I think was actually this entire side.
This whole side.
That whole side. So the whole
So number
shebang
5
is the whole side.
Okay. Now, and then anything else is unusual. Let's call it. It's unusual. So, first we were gonna go with the number 1 option, which is this window.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now
we have some ambitious sort of ideas. Actually, we fell quite in love with the window design of 40 Hours of Freedom. Okay.
You can look them up.
Yeah, well, you probably know them better than you know us because they've already converted a bunch of vans. But the van is very modern. Or they actually sold this one as well. But their van used to be very modern. I'm sure the next one will be as well. And in both designs, they had very good... They had windows on the back. So they had one here on the back... and a window on the opposite side at the back, and they also have the back windows. Ones. Now, we don't need the back windows, but we very much fancy these two windows.
Yeah. Now, there is an important note to make about these back windows in specific.
Now, when you start cutting holes in the van, another reason why it's very important for you to think carefully how many holes you cut and where you cut them is that every hole you cut will compromise the structural integrity of the vehicle.
Yeah.
Now, for one, simple one-on-one cutting holes in the van. Inside the van, actually there's ribs. Okay, so maybe illustrate this for you a little bit.
Yeah, move it down there.
Okay, so when you look inside the van, so this is, if you look at the van, that's the doors open.
There's the, there we go.
Okay, and what you're gonna see, if you remove the plywood that usually comes with the van, you're gonna see these ribs. Like that. And to draw some perspective on this so you can actually see the other ones. Okay, so you have a bunch of them going along like that, going in, okay? Now, and then you also have
them running down the side as well.
Running down the side as well like that. So you end up with like, these are holes that you can see in the van.
Yeah, and like these are the holes where you know that square block insulation, you kind of fit them in the pre-formed gaps and then you build like a frame structure.
And then you have these indentations as well where the windows go. So that's roughly what it looks like. Okay, so for one, let's do a view like this. So let's say you're cutting holes in the side of the van. So this is the side of the van, and this is the inside. So inside side view. Okay, so you're gonna have, like, say for example, a rib here, etc., and you're gonna have the indentation here. You cut the indentation, you don't cut the beams.
Yeah.
Okay, you cut this. And some vans don't actually have the indentation, so you have to really consider where you're cutting the hole. Also, the same thing goes for the roof. Ooh, oh, I really don't like this. It smudges my board.
Okay, just...
Okay, now quickly drawing the roof again. Oh, not again. This is the first time. And again, sort of looks, these are the ribs.
And the ribs on the roof are usually closer together than they are inside the van.
They're about 50 centimeters apart. But pretty much all the ribs are differently spaced because apparently they have different functions. Each section has a different function. What is that? Hi kitty. How? Cat, you're famous. You're probably more famous than we are. Okay, so for example, the roof, you have the vent. So this is a vent. That's already one hole. If you're gonna be cutting skylights, I need the color for that. If you're gonna be cutting skylights, they have to fit in between those ribs. So you cannot have a gigantic skylight that spans the whole roof, because that will lose basically the structural integrity of the whole vehicle.
Yeah,
now, if you want to have a skylight that goes across, you have to basically cut little windows going like this to have windows all the way across the van. So you cannot cut those ribs. Okay, so the problem with windows and holes specifically, not the skylights, is if you choose to, for example, to put a window on the front here. So you put a window here and you say, okay, I'll match it with the opposite window here.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. However, if you have this configuration, okay.
Yeah, because let's say you've got like a cabinet in here, so you don't need a window in the middle.
Yeah, or your bathroom is here or something here, so you don't need a window here. It's better for installation that you don't put a window. So you leave this space, the metalwork untouched. Now, that is actually bad. Okay, because we in our research we found that actually the metalwork, when you put bonded windows in these places,
You're putting a lot of stress on the metalwork surrounding it because that's what's actually stuck onto it. Or if you even got the rubber mounted ones, the pressure is going out into the piece that you've cut.
Yes.
And if you have 2 holes here and a thin piece of metal here,
it makes this area very weak. So in the event of a crash or something of the sort, or even just potential use, depending how where you cut the hole and how well you bond it, basically it can cause deformation, or the window, the seal of the window may, deformation will actually cause the seal to break or weaken as well. So as a general, it's advisable that you don't do this. Okay, so this is on the non-door side, and put a window like this. So usually windows go together.
Yeah, so you either have the middle and the back, or the front and the middle. Now on the other side with the door, it is okay to have one on the door and one at the back, or one on the door and one in the middle, because the door is a separate unit by itself. So this line, because the door opens and slides back and forth, these two, you can have one here, or both, but you can also have one on the door and one here, because they're different, so they work in a different way. The door is its own entity, and this bit is able to support itself, like so.
Yeah. Now, so we would very much, personally, for our van, currently we're imagining that we can have window 1 here. We don't think we need the opposing window.
Nope.
Like so. But we would like to have these 2 back windows opposite each other, like this.
At the back.
Yeah, so that, we think is going to be structurally fine, but we'll let you know if that changes, because we're not, like, 100% sure yet. But this is kind of the extent of how far we are with our own window research, and then the skylight research as well.
I think we're going to have 2 skylights, one at the front and one at the back.
Like this here.
Like so, yeah. You can see them nicely drawn up there. So basically one's more like a, one's above where the bed is going to be, to sleep, so that, you know, at night you can have the nice moonlight and stars and whatever, so you can pop your head out as well. And the other one is more over the kitchen sort of area. So I think roughly that's where.
Basically, we went from the idea of having just one window, like, oh, you don't need that much windows, to basically, after living in our van in Scandinavia, which had a lot of windows, it was actually very nice when it was chucking it with rain, for us to actually see what's happening outside. You know, you're just sitting in the van, you're working la-di-da, and the natural light really helps to keep your mind active and things like that, especially in a small space, and especially in that van which had no walking space. Which our van will definitely have walking space.
But the other thing is also, you know, if you're actually parked somewhere nice, let's say you're parked by a nice canyon, or, you know, somewhere quite remote with nice mountains on the outside, if you're parked somewhere that nice and you are working or cooking or watching something on the inside, it is kind of nice to have a look outside and say, hey, that's pretty. We're in a nice place. even if it's raining or windy or hailing, you're just like, actually, sometimes that feeling, you know, when it's like, I think it's the feeling when you've just come home and it's hailing outside, you've just come home, you've undressed, and you sit inside and you hear the wind and you feel the hail on your roof, and you're just like, yeah, I'm not out there anymore, I'm in here. I'm nice and cozy and warm. It's that feeling when you light a fire and you're just like, warmth. That sort of, I don't know what it's called.
No idea. You let us know.
Okay.
But yeah, as a general rule, basically, what was the original question? It was whether your windows make you look like a camper. Well, as we said, it depends on all of the above, but mainly definitely if it's a caravan window, and definitely if and most likely you'll be more disguised if it's a bonded window. Now, just to this not disclaimer, but sort of advice, a tip: do not put any screws that don't screw your windows in. Seriously.
Nope.
Screws. The more, as we said, the more holes you put in your vehicle, the the more rust risks there are, the more condensation, the more water and moisture, installation loss, things like that will occur the more holes you put. So do not bolt your windows in, because you're gonna have to seal every single hole, and the chances are you're gonna miss one or do it wrong.
Yeah, because it's not only, okay, I've screwed everything in, I've covered it with some silicone and some hammerite paint so it doesn't rust. You then have to go around maybe every year, 2 years, checking every single hole, saying, oh, the silicone's fallen off this one, or this one's now starting to rust, I need to repaint this, or I need to redo it. The more holes you have, the longer that process will take, and the more likely you are that you're going to forget one magical hole that you've drilled.
Yeah.
Or screw that you've put in.
Also, the more holes or the more screws visible on the outside of the van, the more flags that is a self-converted van, most likely a camper, and
shoddy craftsmanship.
Could be a sign of basically for some, like a flag for somebody to come and break into your home and nick stuff, because there's flags on it that tells people what's actually in the vehicle.
Actually, I saw this amazing deterrent for preventing people from breaking in vans, because vans, even just regular vans, are actually quite, well, not common to break into, but for some reason people like breaking into them.
Well, because usually they have tools in it, or they're campers. Yeah. So if they have tools are expensive.
Yeah.
Campers usually have some sort of
Put
technology.
A biohazard sign on the back door. You know those signs that have like the skull and crossbones and have a number beneath it that means a code for some sort of chemical that you're carrying?
I think that all vans should have that sign, because then the thieves will not know which van to actually break into.
I mean, I wouldn't go overboard. I wouldn't just plaster the whole thing in stickers, but definitely put 1 or 2 on there. I think that's a great idea.
Well, put them where they're professionally required.
Yes, where they're professionally required.
If you just paint the whole thing with a biohazard, it's not gonna pass. No. Yeah. So, really, do you have any questions?
Does anybody have any questions?
Because we can go blabbing on about our own design for ages, but
So the 7 of you who are watching, if you have any questions, just pop them down there.
Kat, any questions?
Any questions? Where is she?
Maybe she actually managed to get out.
No, she's standing by the door.
Oh, she's sulking, is she?
She's sulking by the door, exactly.
Yeah.
Just making sure that we've said anything.
Yeah. Well, insurance. Oh, the thing about the camper should look like a camper. We might want to mention that a little bit. Explain that.
Yeah,
the thing with the requirements, but the UK requirements. Yeah, okay. So going a little bit back to what the UK particularly requires of the campervan registered vehicles, that they need to have, the only instruction that they have in terms of the exterior is that it has a single window on the side of the vehicle. But they also say that the vehicle that is registered as a camper must look like a camper externally. And we asked that question, we should probably do a whole live stream on this, but
we asked that question directly to them. So what classifies as looking like a camper? And I think they put us on hold at least 3 times. And we got transferred to
different people. Yeah,
different people. Basically, it's up to the judgment of the people who assess it. And we're like, okay,
depends on their mood.
But I was like, surely they must have a list. Some requirements saying, okay, they've got vinyl stickers, they've got a pop-out window, they've got a skylight that you can see from ground level, or something like that. I'm like, what are your requirements? And they didn't say.
Yeah, which is actually it's very important in the windows, because it's good that they have not told you that you must have a caravan window on your camper because that will be horrible. It'll suck. And and it's also none of their business.
Yeah, we've asked on Facebook groups for people in the UK who have got the DVLA to there's cat fur on the air, to change their van to a, what do they call it, a motor caravan?
Yeah.
Motor caravan. Some people have sent a photo of ones with just bonded windows, like it's completely flush. It's like,
or just a single bonded window and pretty much maybe a rack and potentially maybe a skylight, but not even the skylight. Sometimes maybe something on the roof. Okay.
Yeah, and with that, it's passed. And some people have got windows everywhere. you know, they've got a little circular window, they've got a little bathroom cutout window, they've got 2 skylights, a big roof rack and stuff. And they say with that, no, that doesn't pass. Next.
Yeah. So, got a question. What is heavier, glass window or metal that will cut?
That will be cut to make the hole. The window, definitely.
The window's heavier. But depends which window you go for. Bonded window or rubber mounted windows
They'll be heavier.
Are heavier. Which is actually why also the structural integrity of the van here in the middle drops.
Yeah, because they're so heavy.
It's unbalanced.
They can almost warp the metal.
If you go with the Perspex, that's potentially lighter. Is it lighter or the same?
It's definitely lighter.
It's lighter than these windows, but is it lighter than the metal?
Yeah, it's lighter than the metal.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it depends on the thing, but
actually,
you can get ones.
Because Perspex windows are so light, that's why you see them put like anywhere that they're speckled on. In random places.
Yeah. So you'll have one.
Are you going
for the drawing.
You're going to be the artiste.
I am.
Go ahead.
Right, so I'm going to draw it down here. So, you know, you have the side of the van, or the side of a camper van, and they'll have like a thin little window up here, and then they'll have a bigger window here, and then they'll have like they'll have some like vinyl stuff here, and they'll have another thin tall window here, like we can even have, and then they'll have a little exhaust vent and something else. Anyway, you get my point. Basically, they'll put them all over the place, and because they're Perspex, because they're lighter, the metalwork between all of the little dots and bits and pieces, it doesn't matter so much, because that way it's not putting that much stress on the metalwork on the outside.
Yeah, but also if you do choose to do something like this, if you cut the holes weirdly, meaning that you create what are they called, weak points, when you have actually the new Apple iPad, okay, where they have one port on one side and directly opposite the other side there's the
microphone.
The microphone, yeah. So you have the speaker and the mic in the headphone jack and the charger.
No, it's the charging point for the pencil.
Okay, so you have one charging slot, and then you have the speaker on the other side, which creates a weak point. It creates a fissure. Okay.
Yeah.
So the same thing can happen here with the windows. If you cut the holes in a way that creates an easy path for a crack or deformation to occur,
yep,
it will happen.
Especially if you've got like something bolted to this side when you're going around corners, it can cause stress to the metal. So yeah, unfortunately we don't have a £2,000 iPad to show you how to break it in half. But trust me,
I don't think I can bear to do that. I every time I see the videos where they break them, I basically
Here, I've got a phone.
I'm like, no. So it needs to be considered when deciding how many windows you want to order. Not to exceed the max weight. Yes, actually, yeah, that's another thing. That's a good question.
Because quite a lot of driver's licenses have the limit of you can't drive a vehicle with an unladen weight over 3,500 kilograms. I don't know how much that is in American terms. I'm sure you can work it out. Roughly double it, so what, £7,500?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if the van, like without any people in, weighs more than that, then sometimes you have to do like a
additional test. You have to re-register the vehicle and
do an additional test.
Like you need to upgrade your driver's license.
Well, most campervans in UK and Europe and such, like they will try and keep the weight beneath this, which is usually why they use Perspex and paper tables and such, because in other weight saving areas they maybe don't do so much of a good job, so they basically skimp out on the windows and make the windows 20 kilograms lighter or something by using Perspex.
Also, you have to consider that the heavier you make the vehicle, the worse your MPG will be. Or
your fuel efficiency, kilometers per liters per 100 kilometers, or
how much fuel you use per kilometer or per mile or per whatever unit you like, per foot.
How many pints of fuel per millimeter
Oof, that would be atrocious.
Pints per minute.
But yes, so you have to consider the weight of the windows that you put. The more windows you put, the more, especially bonded windows that you put on your vehicle, the more you'll have to think about basically the furniture you build, the water tanks, because water tanks are another big thing that are heavy.
Yeah.
So you have to basically gather the heaviest things that your design requires and see how much they're gonna weigh roughly together. And then that leaves you how much weight you have left. Now, generally, it's also good to not aim to be exactly 3,500 kilograms heavy.
Best to be a little bit under, like
Aim lower, just in case you add something. But also, is it without you in it?
Yes, without unladen, so without any people in it.
Okay, definitely without. Okay.
And also, well, unladen technically means without any like boxes or anything in. I don't know how that converts into
Okay.
Yeah.
No. I think it does mean that you can't put something like some very heavy machinery in.
Oh yeah, no. Unladen weight is something else. Unladen is how much it weighs without anything in. Vans are meant to be as light as possible, so you can fit as much weight in the back whilst being under 3,500.
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, you've got quite a lot to play with vans. They're pretty good because they
Indeed.
try and make it as light as possible.
Yeah.
Which also means the metalwork is easier to cut through.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Oh, also, like with your designs and things, if you're gonna use metal or something, aluminium is the lightest. Okay.
Aluminium is the lightest and it doesn't rust.
Wood is heavy. Okay, so if you can go to actually use a metal to build your stuff inside, it will be lighter than if you were to use wood.
Yep.
Because actually, there's a very simple reason why. Wood, it's a whole block. It's a solid block. Metal is metal beams, bars, are basically sold hollow.
They can have the same
yeah.
strength, but they're hollow on the inside, so they
Yeah.
just have a couple of millimeters of thickness, and it's the same.
So that's just a trick to try and minimize your weight, especially if you're gonna go with more windows.
Yeah, because especially with wood, if you needed something that's structural, you usually can't use softwood. You usually have to use hardwood, which is denser, so therefore it's even heavier.
Indeed, yeah.
Cool.
So, any more questions, guys? Because I think that's pretty much the extent
Yeah,
of
we've hit the hour mark.
what we remember.
Yeah, so we've hit the hour mark, so that's pretty good timing actually. We've managed to go over pretty much everything, and here's our wonderful sketch.
I think if you compare the first sketches from the first live stream, which you can go and check now if you wish, then this is a lot more descriptive. Though I think the people on that one were awesome.
Yeah. There's no need for people on this one.
Oh, and what's happening there?
We got a bus.
Oh, a bus. Are you going to be converting a bus?
Can you buy us
Really?
a bus?
I've convinced you finally? Wonderful. Let's start planning.
Sell the house. Sell the house, buy a bus.
Sell the house. You're selling the house and buying a bus. That is wonderful news. When can I move in?
All right, we're going to round it up.
Oh, and actually, for those of you that are interested, if you're interested in more in-depth design stuff, such as how to actually calculate properly and how to insert stuff into your design and put to the millimeter, so basically the actual design sketches that we do, if you want to catch those, we will be starting a Patreon. So for any of you that are at all interested in basically step-by-step design tips and things and live streams and direct communication with us on the subject, then you are more than welcome to find us on there and say hi and then share ideas. So yeah, if you wanna see what that is, we'll put a link down below. The page might not be live today, but it will be live in the next few weeks. So yeah, if you are interested in on the spot, behind the scenes designing of your van or our van or whatever, that's the place.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Next project. Oh. Hi, cat.
Okay, she wants to come on camera
see.
again. We'll say bye with the cat on camera.
Bye bye.
Okay, the cat says bye.
Okay. Let's
All
go.
right. Obviously,
Sorry,
the cat
Squeaky.
the cat has been meowing at us for an hour, so we're gonna go and feed her.
I think we ended the last live stream like this. Let's go feed the cat.
Let's go feed the cat. The cat is the pinnacle of live stream ending. Goodbye.
Bye bye, guys.
See you next time.
Yep. Okay. Okay.